All right, so we're live. So, welcome to another Storytellers Happy Hour. I'm Lisa Kastner. I'm the founder and executive editor of Running Wild and RIZE Presses. And I screwed up because I thought that we had set this up for 5:30 Pacific time, 8:30 Eastern time. And I looked up and saw that the live stream was like, "Hey, it's time." So, I have pinged Teehee to join us now so that we can have a blast. So, okay. Um okay, cool. Actually, I know. It's freaking hilarious. Um okay, so I um uh Oh my goodness. Um well, okay. So he was out there. I'm like I'm just taking, taking, take it, just keep, take it on. And I thought, okay, come on, come on. Um, and, uh, and well, that there you go. Um, and, um, yeah, um, okay. Oh my goodness. Um, well, yeah. Well, 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 ugh. Oh my goodness. So, let's see. Well, we could just, pr- toss, I guess. um, that must be where they're, you know, staying like in one spot or whatever. So, let's see. So what else is really fascinating here? Um, well, here, what's kind of cool is for this. Um, so what we do is we will send out a like um a promotion or something, and then we take that and we use that as whatever that is as the way that we will then write whatever that story um, uh, is based on. So, like, let's say um, the the card says, um, sunshine, and so you then take the sunshine and you use that, and you come up with, okay, so what are the stories that we could use, and are these stories ones that are well known or commonly known or, things like that. So, um, the purpose of this is that we will um, get a title, and then we'll take turns telling stories that are based on whatever that topic is, whatever it is that is really kind of driving that person, um, for them to have something to really drive them on, if that makes sense. So, and typically, we also share our drinks. So this year, I have actually apple cider. This is um, completely water free, or it is water free, no alcohol. And typically, Tihi usually has like beer or something like that to drink on his way in. So, here he is.
Hey,
Hey. Sorry about that. I seriously looked up and I was like, "Oh my god, my it started. Whoops." So, sorry about that.
No problems, no problems. I just came back from looking at the hotel thing for the
Mm.
are we ready for it? Because we have it reserved.
Oh, talk about it. Totally.
Oh my God, this is so exciting. I'm so excited.
Uh,
But we're going to be hosting, Running Wild is going to be hosting a writers intensive weekend in November. I
woohoo.
just took a tour of the hotel where we're going to be at, and they have the space reserved for us. And like, it's 4 days, excuse my cat, 4 days, 3 nights in November. We will have more information. There'll be like an application and submission process and everything like that. And all of that will be public very soon, but it's happening and it's in the mix. And I'm so, so excited. I'm so
That's
excited.
that is so cool. We are gonna have such a blast.
It's going to be so much fun. The place is beautiful. It's so beautiful. There's like, and there's so many different spaces where we can do like small group workshops
Mhm,
will be some of them indoors, some of them outdoors, some
mhm.
of them next to waterfalls. And it's going to be dope.
Wow.
It's going to be dope. They were like, here's this space. And they were like, we could turn off the waterfall for y'all if it's too loud. I'm like, no, no, no. The waterfall.
Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. That sounds amazing.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Very cool. So we'll just have to like send like here's all the details and stuff. Yeah, definitely next
Yeah,
time. Oh yeah,
but yeah,
that'll be cool.
we're definitely gonna be ready to go sometime soon. Like we don't have like a release date on like when a
Mm,
submission process will be. We'll have the dates of the retreat
mm.
very soon, but like it's coming together.
Very cool. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. We're gonna have such a blast.
I'm
Absolutely.
literally so excited. Like I've been on cloud nine. I rushed home to get
Mhm.
here. But I was like, oh my God, like from taking the tour and everything. And I'm like, this is perfect. It's gonna be a great experience.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. That is so awesome. All right. Well, we only have like 40 minutes, I think.
Okay.
And I think it's just going to be you and me this time for our storytellers happy hour. Um, so do you want to give them like a
Yeah.
hint or okay.
Yeah. So for people who might be tuning in for the first time, um, I am Ruben Teehee Hazlett. I'm an author with Running Wild Press. Lisa Kastner is the founder and the CEO. And we do this storytelling happy hour. We're going to be telling stories based on a prompt. We have no idea what the prompt is. It's literally something that I pulled just a few seconds ago.
Mm,
And I'm actually kind of like excited. My cat is around and bothering me, but we're gonna have a prompt, and we're just gonna tell stories off the cuff based on
mm,
the prompt. The prompt that I picked, which for the first time, I also want to like slightly amend it to make it a little broader.
okay.
But I literally chose it just before this, which is burned. But I
Okay.
wonder if we can broaden it to just stories about fire.
Oh, okay. Hmm. Interesting.
It is really. That was my first thought when I saw the card. I was like, how about just stories about fire?
Mm. Mhm. Mm, 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 mm. I could do that. I could do stories about fire. Yeah.
Like I definitely have one from my childhood. I'm not an arsonist, but
Oh my god, that's so funny.
But and I feel like we all knew these people when we grew up, with like that one kid that's just like really into fire.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, okay. I
That
could
was
see
like
that.
most of my siblings.
Okay. All right.
'Cause-
I could see that.
Yep.
I
Yep.
I think I mean the first one that pops to mind is when my house burned down. So,
Okay.
yeah.
We need that story.
Okay. All right. Well, when I was, I want to say 21, 22, something like that. So like when I graduated from high school, I went to college briefly and then I was like, yeah, I'm going to work full time. So I went and I was working full time for a while and I was working for the relay services of the hard of hearing and deaf. So I was basically like translating phone calls for the hearing hard of hearing and deaf, right? And I was working for AT&T and T, and I was working like double shifts and I was like saving up all the money I could because I was like um uh I was like, okay, I want to go on vacation, right? Like, cause like I'd never been on like a cruise. I'd never, done like a foreign trip like that. Like I visited family in other states and stuff like that, but I'd never really gone to Mexico or like, England or anything like that, right? So, um, I'd saved up all this money and I just worked, I think it was like a 14-hour shift, maybe it was like a 16-hour shift. And I remember I was driving home and it was like it felt like it must have been like 9 or 10 o'clock at night, right? And it's like I could smell the, like, something burning, you know? But again, like, I was just approaching the neighborhood, so it could have been anything as far as I knew, right? And in my head, all I'm doing is daydreaming about going home and getting in the bathtub and just taking a hot bath and, like, getting rid of, like, the, extra, uh, uh just a nice hot relaxation with like bubbles and the whole nine yards. And I think the closer I got to my street to turn like right into the corner, the more I could smell the flames, right? The more I could smell the uh what was actually occurring.
What did it smell like?
Like burning wood and um actually, and, like, burning junk, if that makes sense. Um, and, you could see the, um like, there was just, like, smoke everywhere, so it turned out so by the time I turned, I realized that the police had already basically, like, uh washed out all the major flames, so all that was left was, like, the smoke and but all our the only thing left of our home was really, like, the remaining structure. Like, the house itself had basically burned down, it was just left that was the structure, if that makes sense, right? And, there was an ambulance left, and I was just sort of, like, stood there in shock because I was like it took me a minute to kind of realize, like, "Oh my god, so this means everything's gone." And then, like and that like, all that's left is this, like, empty house, you know? And, the United Way actually sends um, uh, a nonprofit, um, uh bus basically where like if you were identified as one of the people who was impacted by the fire, they give you these like bags of to help kind of get you through the break period. And so like they gave me like a bag of like, you know, giveaway w- toothpaste and toothbrush and, throwaway underwear and like a throwaway bra and stuff like that. And like the whole time I'm just standing there thinking like, wait a minute, oh my God, I'm supposed to, so this means I don't have a home anymore. Like it's like it took me like to just sort of, get it. And
Yeah.
then like when I finally realized it, my father had arrived and he ended up talking to the police, like in the firemen, and so on. Well, the way it worked was that the United Way, they had made arrangements for us to have giveaway tickets to like these mom and pop local hotels, like no-tell motels, for you to have a place to stay while
Hmm.
you're basically homeless,
Yeah.
right? And so I had called my best friend just because I forgot we were supposed to do something, and I told her what had happened, and she was like, her parents in the background were like, she is not allowed to live in a homeless, whatever. And so like I went and lived with them. I want to say for like 2 weeks while my father actually basically just took all um the giveaway cards that we had to stay at this like no-tell motel while we went and we were able to get a small apartment in um in like a pretty good neighborhood in New Jersey. I'm originally from New Jersey. So I mean that was a lot. Like it took us, I mean we basically lost everything that
Yeah.
was in the house. And it was, what was weird too was like someone I used to work with at Relay Services of Hard of Hearing and Deaf. Every once in a while, she'd call me asking if she could borrow a piece of like an outfit, and I'm like, well, it's gone. Like, like it was just really weird, right? Like it was like, and then she was like, oh yeah, that's right, yes,
When I
yes,
said I lost everything, I meant
like
everything.
yeah, like, other than, like, the jeans that were on my tushy and my T-shirt, like, everything else, unless it was in my car, is gone, you know? Like, it was bizarre. And meanwhile, the friend that I was staying with, I mean, her parents were like, "You are not allowed to stay anywhere other than here." Like, you are not allowed to actually be like homeless, homeless. Like, we totally acknowledge you're homeless, but your ass is gonna stay here until we're sure you've got someplace like permanent. So, but yeah,
That's
that was, yeah.
dang. Okay, so I feel like I have to ask this because, like, when I moved from New York to California while on the road, traveling with my sister who was helping me move, our car got broken into and they stole
Oh
some of my luggage.
no. I'm
But they
sorry.
took, yeah, it's fine. They took the luggage that had all of my like knickknacks and little things, like nothing important except for like all of my childhood photos.
Oh, okay. Weird.
Yeah, and now I'm like, now I live a life where I'm like, oh, there's no photographic evidence of my childhood anymore.
Oh, wow.
It's gone. Like, but so with the fire, did you guys lose that stuff too?
Well, this was in like 1994, I want to say, something like that, 92, 94. And cuz wait, I graduated in 90. Yeah, so it was like 92. And by then, I mean a lot of things were digital already. So, or like people had already started transitioning stuff from like, like your end of year yearbook onto some digital format or whatever, stuff like that. Um, but I mean, yeah, no, we did lose um a lot of stuff. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird because like my family didn't digitize a lot of stuff, but we had tons of pictures. And then
Mm,
when you become not 18, but when you become old enough where your mom decides you're responsible enough to handle your childhood photos,
mm.
then you get most of them. So like there's like
Ah,
7 pictures of my childhood that my mom or my other siblings have because they're group photos.
mhm.
And like
Mhm.
that's it.
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
it.
it's funny, like, every once in a while, someone will come up with, like, "Oh, look at this photo from when you were on, like, this show, or when you were in this theater, or when you were, whatever," and it's like, I kind of remember it, you know what I mean? Like, mo 9 times out of 10, it's more of, like, I sorta remember it, but it's not like, "Oh," um, but I've also never been huge on getting my photo taken, you know? So, yeah.
I've gone through phases of my life where I just never wanted my photo taken.
Mhm.
But one of the weird things about not having photographic evidence of your childhood is how much you forget.
Yeah.
Like, because there's no visual, like, and it sounds hokey, but you see a picture and you're
Mhm.
like, oh, I remember that day. I remember this, and that. And I'm like, nope.
Yeah, totally. Rodney says that's called age. No, for real. I mean, it's hilarious because like I'll meet with people who I know, and like as I'm talking to them, they'll mention something, and at first I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about. And then all of a sudden it's like my brain goes, "Oh yeah, it's that." And I'm like, "Hey," like, then I'll suddenly remember, but oh yeah, all the time.
It
All
is
the time.
really, really weird.
How about you? Like, what about you, like a fire related
I
thing?
think I have 2 stories.
Okay.
And they're both kind of funny.
Okay.
But all right, so I'll start with the childhood story. So I grew up in Iowa. In the summers, as a kid, there's nothing to do, so you either like go swimming in the pool or you like hang out or whatever.
Mm.
There was a certain amount of time where my family got really into card games where
Oh,
we play
cool.
spades or rummy, and that would just be the whole afternoon, just like hours.
Mm.
We would put on like either like because this was the 90s, so like Crazy Sexy Cool, TLC, and
Mm.
just listen to the whole album, or like a
Mhm.
Tony Braxton album. And
Mhm.
we had like a CD player. You just put the CD on and you let the whole album play, and we're just playing cards.
Yeah, totally.
And it's like one of my favorite memories from like adolescence. But at some point, I have no idea whose idea it was, but we had something like it started really innocuous. Like I think there was like a chair that was broken and it was made of
Mm.
wood or something, and we were like, okay, we have like a big enough patio,
Oh,
like
wow.
just burn it.
Mhm.
And so we like set it on fire. We had this fire. And like I said, my siblings really love fire. So
Okay.
it kept going. And we kept being like, what else can we burn?
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
We would run into the house, or we were staying in an apartment, but we were like run into the apartment, grab some things, like really random things, but it was like stuff that like no one wanted.
Mm.
Um, and at first it was like, oh, we have a bunch of old newspapers for no reason. Let's burn those. And then
Oh,
like
okay.
a bunch of old papers of whatever, these things like old credit card bills, like they're not important, burn them.
Mm.
And
Oh my god.
then it got worse. It became like toys that we couldn't give away to other people that are just like hanging around and we all aged out of them. So it's plastic. And we're like,
Okay.
throw that in the fire. And then that's like, like, like all the chemicals and everything like hits you and you're like, that was a bad idea. Um,
Yeah.
at one point, I think my mom remembered that we had a bunch of like paper bags from grocery stores. He
Mhm.
was like, "Oh, we have a lot of paper bags that we never use again.
Mhm.
Throw those in the fire." And then maybe it was me, it was probably me. I was like, "We also have a ton of plastic bags, like single-use plastic bags. Let's throw those." And they like
Oh, no.
they
Yeah.
crinkle, but they release a lot of chemicals that are really
Yeah.
I don't know how the cops did not get called on us, but we kept the fire going for several hours. It was really small,
Wow.
but just like timing it where like when the fire dies down, let's add more. And
Mhm.
all sorts of stuff we should have been burning. And then by the end of it, we're like, oh crap, what do we do?
Mhm.
My mom gets a hose. She's like, we'll just douse it.
Okay.
But it had been several hours. So there was like a chunk of like black molten congealed about this high, about as high as my face,
Oh, wow.
right in the middle of our patio, this like mound.
Wow. Oh my
That
gosh.
was the fire. Because once we doused it with cold water, everything like contracted,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
we could not get rid of it.
Wow.
So it was just
Wow.
there.
That sounds like a lot. I mean, like, eye burning, like,
Oh,
difficulty breathing. Wow.
yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
Mm.
But I feel like it was like one of the fun times where like when because I grew up with a lot of siblings, so like we were used to playing together and
Mhm.
having
Mhm.
our own fun together.
Mhm.
But like
Mhm.
we also had a single mom who worked like two jobs. So my mom was not
Mm.
working that night. So like it was one of the few times we got to have like fun with mom.
Oh,
And
cool.
we were all into keeping the fire going. So we're like,
Mhm.
blah blah blah. My mom was like, you
Do
remember the
it.
science fair project from 3 years ago? You don't care about that, right? Let's throw it into the fire.
That's hilarious. Oh my god, that's hilarious. You're like, "Yeah, let's do it.
And I was like,
Ah!"
it's science class, throw it in the fire.
Wow. That's so cool.
It was fun. And then like obviously we didn't get our security deposit back because we like permanently warped our patio.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
People would trip over it on occasion because it was
Oh
really
my gosh. Oh my gosh.
hard. So if you're like walking too fast and trying to get inside, you'd like trip over.
Wow.
You're like, yeah, yeah, that was that time we all as a family got real into fire.
Right? Oh my god, that's hilarious.
And thankfully, nothing moved beyond it. Like in the
Mm,
beginning, we did use some lighter fluid, but then
mhm,
afterwards, we were just like tending the fire. So
mm.
just like
Oh, well, that's
more
good.
anything that can like catch. And then like it took us embarrassingly to admit a long time to learn not to burn plastic.
Mm.
'Cause we threw a lot of plastic.
Oh my goodness.
And like, whew, it was the 90s. Thank God none of our neighbors complained. I don't know if our neighbors were even home, but
Mm,
like it was just well into the night. Like it started around sunset. It went deep into the night that we kept
mm,
this going. I want to say like 3 or 4 hours.
mhm. Wow. Oh
And
my goodness.
yeah, they're like, what about these old towels? We don't use these towels anymore. Throw them in the fire.
Wow. That's a lot.
It is a lot. My other favorite memory of my mom just like playing with us beyond
Mm,
like little kid stage, like when
mhm.
you're a toddler, your parents play with you and do
Yeah.
peekaboo and like hide and seek and all that stuff. But once we were older,
Mm,
we had a pillow fight one time, and
mm.
my mom happened to be awake and have some energy, and she was like, "I also want to have a pillow fight." So it was like the whole family. And my mom whooped the shit out of all.
Wow, that's awesome.
She was the only adult. She had a strong swing.
Sh Wow, and you're all like, "Ah! She's kicking our butts, ah!"
Like whopping somebody who's like standing on the couch, and it's so bad they fall on the floor.
Wow.
But it was so much laughter. Everybody was just laughing and having fun. And
Mm,
like
mm,
not all of our pillowcases were like feathers, but a couple were. So there by
mhm.
the end of it, there was like feathers dangling.
Oh, got it. Oh my god, that is so funny. Wow.
Oh, good times, good times.
Mm,
Also,
seen
it was Mother's Day, so happy Mother's Day, Mom. I might have missed it, but what are you drinking?
Oh, this is just, the sparkling apple cider? Oh, you can't see it. Can you?
Oh, okay, I can see a little bit of it.
Yeah. Yeah, because 'cause I've got, I am actually interviewing Charles A. Parker, the author of Song of Samurai, after this.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and, like, talk to him about, like, about his book and what inspired him and all that kinda thing. And then I have some other stuff that I have to get done, so I don't like, I was like, "Do I have a beer? Do I have a glass of wine?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've got a lot I have to do, so I better just go down the sparkling cider route." So, how about you? What are you drinking?
I am drinking tequila on the rocks
Oh my lord.
in a coffee mug.
Wow. Now, so there's no mixer to it? There's no, like,
None. It's
really?
been sitting so the ice is melting, so like the mixer is water.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I can see that. Do you have a favorite tequila?
No, I actually got this tequila during the eclipse, the solar eclipse.
Oh, uh-huh.
So Puerto Vallarta was in like 97% totality, which is nothing because if you're
Mm,
not in 100, you're not really seeing anything.
mm,
But we were all, I was with my friends, we were on this rooftop and we saw a little bit of stuff. And there
mhm,
was this one tourist lady, young woman, and she'd moved her flight to be just after the eclipse because she was like, I think she lived somewhere in New York, which was not going to get
mm,
anywhere near totality. So she
mhm,
was like, this is the closest I could be. So I might as well just extend my day and extend my flight.
mm,
And like I was chatting her up, and she was like, I have so much liquor that I'm not going to take with me to New
mhm.
York.
Yeah.
Like, you live here. Do you just want this
See?
liquor?
Yeah.
And I was like, yes. Yes, I do.
Okay.
I had 2 bottles of rum, which
Mhm.
I drank in secret because rum makes me not pleasant to be around. So
Oh, I
like,
see.
I drink it at home by myself and watch TV
Mm,
and react to the television.
mm. Well, okay.
Yeah, and spare all of my living relationships with humans.
Yeah.
'Cause rum makes me really catty and kind
Mm.
of mean.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
I had an intervention in college where they were like, when you drink rum, it makes us feel a certain way. So
Oh, got it. Mm.
it,
Wow.
it's not a public drink. Um,
Mm.
I did have a lot of fun yelling at the TV though. But I have 1 bottle of tequila
Mhm,
left
mhm,
that I was saving, but I'm about halfway through.
mhm.
It's become, sounds terrible, my nightcap.
Oh, fun.
I go out for a night and do my drinking. I come
Mm,
home, put a couple ice cubes in a cup, pour
mhm,
some tequila in there.
mhm. Nice.
I like it. I
Yeah,
like
that sounds great. Yeah, I used to have, like, a whole of, like, wines and stuff, and then I was like, I'd rather only drink when I, like, go out or, like, if it's, like, a special occasion or whatever, so I basically cleaned house, and I almost went to the corner and got like a beer or something. Then I was like, nah, I'm all right for now. This doesn't mean this won't change for our next happy hour, but
Yeah.
but right now I'm good. Mhm.
I think in general, I like to if I have alcohol in my house, which is not often,
Mhm.
despite how much I drink a lot.
Mhm.
But like I don't keep it in the house, but I do like it as a nightcap before I go to bed. So if I
Mm.
have like a 12 pack of beer, it will
Mhm.
take me 12 days to finish it because I'll come
Oh,
home,
wow.
one beer, and then I'll go to bed.
Got it. Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
But it does take a while, and I had a 12 pack, but I ran through it like 2, 3 days ago, so now I'm back on the tequila.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, real quick, my last fire story.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Go ahead.
So when I was in college, I did archaeology. We were digging and excavating in rural South Carolina in
Mhm.
this place called Coosawhatchie Village. It
Okay.
was so small it doesn't qualify to be called a town because it was too small. It's a
Okay.
village. And this is in the early 2000s.
Mm.
And we would roll up in there. I love the South. South Carolina is like a third world country sometimes. It's just different.
Mm. Mhm.
But one of the things we noticed after a couple of times is there was always a different building that had been burned to the ground.
Mhm.
And like at first, it's just a couple random buildings, and then it was the McDonald's. But we always ate for lunch at Wendy's.
Mhm.
So the McDonald's burns down, and
Mhm.
then we only do this on Fridays. So the next week we go in, and Arby's is a pile of smoking rubble.
Oh my. Okay.
We're like, huh, okay.
Hmm.
And then Taco Bell. And we were like, huh.
Okay.
And we were like, at first it was other people's homes and stuff, and now
Mm.
it's fast food restaurants. And I'm like, I feel like the arsonist has like changed his
Like
pathology.
preference or something. Yeah. Mhm.
Like, what is it about fast food?
Yeah,
And
totally.
we made some jokes because we are like, this is a small town. There's only so many fast food places around. And then the next week, we pull into Coosawhatchie Village
Mm.
and we have to drive by the Wendy's to get to the archaeological site.
Okay.
And we drive by and it's completely burned out. It's like
Wow.
some bricks, some like very brown, dark wood structure. Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
and we were like, that's where we eat. Where
Aw.
are we going to eat?
Oh no.
We found a Waffle House, and then the next week, the Waffle House burned down. And then we were like, are we being targeted?
Right? Like seriously.
Also, there's nowhere to eat in this town. So then we would have to like pack lunches, but places still kept burning down. And I'm like,
Wow.
Coosawhatchie Village is a town that was like maybe 2,000 people.
Mhm. Mhm.
And like over the course of a semester, like 8 weeks, 8 different structures have burned down every week. And I'm like,
Wow.
you have an arsonist. Like you have
Yeah.
someone who loves fire and is making
Yeah.
fire happen. And there's not that many of you.
Mm-mm.
Chances are you know who's doing this.
Right? Exactly.
Like all you gotta do is ask around. But it kept happening.
Wow.
Arsonist was never caught.
I was gonna ask that. Wow.
Never
Like,
caught.
it's probably one of those, like, everybody knew who it was and they didn't care enough to say anything, so
Yeah,
they
and no
yeah.
one said anything to law enforcement, or maybe they were law enforcement.
Maybe they were law enforcement or, like, they were, like, waiting for whatever that little bonus was so that it
Yeah.
wouldn't hit the next one, you know?
I always thought it was like the sheriff's child, male, female, doesn't
Oh,
matter. But like
maybe.
the
Mm.
sheriff's because none of it ever got investigated. It was like,
Oh.
oh, you run this business, and then 2 days later it's burned to the ground. And
Hmm.
like there was no investigation. No one
Wow. Mhm. I
South
could see
Carolina.
that. I I could totally see that. It's so funny, like, in the mornings, like, I work out and I'll like, when I walk to, um, Starbucks, I'll listen to, like, Tony Robbins, and when I walk from, I listen to Spotify and, like, all the different, like, historical figures and stuff like that. The number of people who did crazy ass shit. And were like, "You know what? It's fine. It's fine. It doesn't matter that I just, burned down my house or my mother's house or my brother's house or my cousin's house or like my school or and I mean I'm talking about all the way back to like 1600s. Like I'm not even talking about now."
And it was way easier to get away with it. Like I was watching on Netflix,
Mhm.
the Talented Mr. Ripley,
Oh,
the
yeah, yeah.
show that's been readapted from the
Mhm.
novel and the movie and whatnot. And I was like,
Mhm.
wow, in the 50s, it was really easy to kill someone
Mhm.
in a way that it's not easy to do.
No, I'm yeah, for a long there was one now and I can't remember who the figure was, but there was this one figure that just kept getting poisoned and poisoned and poisoned and kept recuperating and
Not
the
beaten.
yes, and the killer was just like, "What the fuck? Like, how is it you're still alive? Here's more."
They're like, this motherfucker.
Seriously. And I'm listening to this, I'm like, and they're that open about it? Like, wow, okay.
And
Sure.
like, obviously, the Talented Mr. Ripley is not based on a true story, but it feels so true that not
Right?
only could you kill someone really easily in broad daylight on the ocean, but then
Right?
take over their life.
Yeah.
Like that would hopefully never happen today.
Well, the way they talk about, like, all of the royalty, like, back in the day, that's how it worked. Like, "Alright, well, I feel like I wanna be in charge, so I'm gonna kill my brother, sister, cousin, uncle, whatever, and ta-da, look."
Because of like divine rule, the Lord decided I'm the ruler, and never
Yeah,
mind, all of my family died.
yeah, exactly, and I'm, like, sitting here going, "Okay." Like, but are you even qualified other than the fact genetically? Like, does that who do you even know what you're doing? You
That's the
know?
problem with monarchy.
Right? Seriously. And it's so funny because some of the speakers on it, talk about how, like, "Man, this guy was born and he didn't know jack shit, and he didn't bother to know jack shit." He was just, like, hit a point, and went, "You know what? I wanna be I wanna own the country so I can put it in bankruptcy. So,
Because like
ta-da."
if your father is king and was king before you were born, so you just
Mhm,
grow up in all this wealth, all this
mhm,
privilege, and you're just
mhm.
like, you have your harem, your hunting group, you have all your opium,
Yep.
drugs, and everything. Like, you're not suited to rule. Like,
No.
you've been chasing some sort of adrenaline high your entire life, and that's like
Totally.
no way to rule a kingdom. But then
Mm-mm.
the king dies, then everybody like I mean, this is why Game of Thrones is popular.
Right? For real. Seriously. Seriously. But yeah. Oh, well.
Also, speaking of fire, weirdly controversial. The
Mm?
last season, I barely talk about it, but I will say it here.
Okay.
Daenerys, destroyed King's Landing
Mhm.
with her dragon, just burned it
Mhm.
all down.
Mhm.
But I speak Dothraki, and I'm kind of like, Dothraki identified.
Yeah.
And the Dothraki people follow her. So I have, ever since the show ended, been defending that character's actions.
Really? Okay.
And I'm like, you know what? King's Landing deserved to burn.
Wow.
People look at me like I'm crazy.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
But I'm like, no, no, when you think about it, and I have to like pull strings from wherever in my brain because
Mhm.
like I just can't go against Daenerys because she was like the ruler of the Dothrakis
Mm.
after a certain point. So I was like,
There you go.
that's my monarch. She's not wrong. I'm sorry.
Oh my god, that is so funny. Well, on that, she's a monarch and she's not wrong note. This is, as always, this was an absolute blast, and I can't wait for our next Storytellers Happy Hour. And
Yeah,
everyone who's watching, look out because we're gonna provide a lot more details on our upcoming um what do you want to call it? A writer's uh
I've been calling it a writer's intensive, but it's
okay,
basically a writer's retreat.
okay.
We're, we're cool, so we have branding.
So yeah, we're gonna do a writers retreat where basically Teehee and I, um, a select number of authors. We haven't necessarily specified the number yet. Will get to attend over a weekend workshops with Teehee and I, where we will help you with your writing. And since this will actually be in Mexico, then you get a vacation out of it. So during the day, we'll be doing the workshops, and then in the evening, we're going to go and hang out by the beach side or poolside or spa or whatever the case may be,
Our side.
bar side, and we'll have a blast together. So definitely check it out. We will absolutely have a fabulous time. So,
I'm gonna start talking to you because I know a lot of bar owners, and we're
mm,
gonna have either lanyards or like name tags.
mhm,
So like one of the things I want to do is to see how many bars I can get discounts by having
just the
the Running
tag.
Wild Writers Intensive name tag or lanyard.
Oh,
So like,
cool.
when you go out and about
Yeah.
in Puerto Vallarta, like you get a little discount
Yeah.
on.
Hey, why not? I love it. We will have an absolute blast. Absolutely. Woo!
Heck
Cool.
yeah. And have so much fun interviewing the writer.
Woo! Absolutely. So I think on that note, I will let you go. Thank you again. As always, we always have an amazing time. And guys, we'll tell you all about that writers retreat soon, actually.
Yep.
So
I will be emailing you, if not tomorrow, the next day.
awesome. Yay!